is a McIlroy A25 guitar. I'm going to share details of a vastly different baritone acoustic with you. Now, walk into any serious guitar shop and it's going to be overwhelming. But isn't that the idea? A sensorium with walls of acoustics, electrics, factory-produced models, and maybe even one-off luthier builds or custom shop models. If you've got the budget, you can spend tens of thousands of dollars on a single instrument. Some do. And yet, most of us, we only really bond with one or two guitars in our whole life. So what is actually going on in our heads when we decide, this is the one. This is the one I'm going to spend all my money on. This is the one I'm going to spend all my songs on. So have you ever picked up a guitar and felt in your brain, oh, this is the one? Not just, this feels nice, it sounds good, but it's a strange full body yes where you don't really know why. Well, by the end of this here video, you'll not only know why this McIlroy feels so right for fingerstyle lovers, you'll have a couple of brain-based tests you can use on any guitar you try in a shop. Today I want to unpack that feeling a bit, how your brain actually responds to an instrument, using this McIlroy A25c as a case study. I'm going to talk about why certain guitars, just like this one, feel like a gift and why that gift can behave a little bit like an affliction or an addiction when you can't put them down. One relevant take-home message to remember when choosing a musical instrument is that we humans, we don't know what we like. We only like what we know. If you stick around, I'll preview what's happening in the next video where we flip all of this on its head with this baritone acoustic guitar, handmade by the late, great Lance McCollum. So let's hear what my Affliction sounds like, and then we'll talk about what our brains are actually doing when we listen. You've probably heard that music, it lights up the whole brain, and that's pretty close to true. When you hear a guitar, your hearing, movement, emotion and reward systems, they're all firing simultaneously. And meanwhile, language is much more compact, mostly tucked away into a specialized network in the left hemisphere. That's great for putting things into words, but it also means that your story about your guitar and the actual experience of playing it live, they live in slightly different neural worlds. Sometimes your brain has already fallen in love with the guitar long before you can explain why. And that gap between what you feel and what you can describe is where a lot of our gear choices are made. When we think this simple wooden box is starting to feel like a personal gift, or sometimes even an uncontrolled habit that we keep coming back to, we'd rather do this than anything else. Now, fingerstyle is a really direct way to feel this. There's no pick as a buffer. It's skin, nail, and palm, straight into the strings and bouncing back into the air. Every little change in pressure or angle gives you different overtones back. And your somatosensory and motor systems are reading that in real time. So for some players, this tactile feedback loop, that's where the real addiction lives. You're not just hearing the guitar, you're in constant physical contact with it. Now, if you have a mind that's always boiling over, always looking for patterns and shapes, fingerstyle is one of those cleanest ways to let that out. A good guitar can turn that restless, slightly afflicted energy into something that actually sounds pretty, both to you and to everyone listening. Hopefully, anyway. So the McIlroy A25c, it leans right into this kind of playing. Now cedar on the top here, it responds really quickly to light touch and offers a crispness and I think a slightly leafy crackle to the high ends. And walnut back and sides, look how beautiful that is. This offers a slightly airy mid-range, so every gentle fingerstyle pattern comes back at you as clear, rounded notes instead of brittle attack that you might get on other guitars. The body depth, I think that also really helps. It's a small jumbo, it's smaller than a dreadnought, and I think that's very comfy to sit with. Another key aspect I've come to appreciate is this long scale length. So this is the distance between the nut and the saddle, 25.5 inches on this guitar. This makes for a higher string tension that most fingerstyle players really enjoy for its longer sustain and note clarity. Psychologically, that's huge. When a guitar gives you a lot of sound for a small effort, your brain tags this as rewarding. You're more likely to keep experimenting, to take risks, to sink into that sweet state where time just drops away. So what's really happening in the nervous system is that it's getting consistent little yes signals every time we try something slightly new. And that encouragement, it shows up as our creativity. So the guitar starts to feel like a gift that keeps offering you new ideas. And a bit of an affliction because we don't want to stop chasing those ideas to do anything else. There's a moment in a movie I really like called Motherless Brooklyn. Jazz musician, he tells the main character Lionel, who has Tourette's syndrome, you've got a head like mine. It's always boiling over, turning things around. But that's music. It controls you more than you control it once it gets in you. Some people call it a gift, but it's a brain affliction just the same. And the main character Lionel, he responds, well, yeah, but you have a way to push it out and make it sound pretty. I'm just stuck twitching and shouting. And my reason for highlighting this, the journey to satisfy the neurological tick you might have, it can be a long one. Now with this cedar walnut McIlroy, for me, the warmth of the bloom of the lows and the way the mids leave space for melody, they don't just sound nice, they give me that way to push things out and make them sound pretty. Now some guitars plug straight into whatever neurological need you might have and turn it into a gift you can share. This one just happens to do it in a perfect way for fingerstyle, with a cedar and walnut voice. Now, under the hood, your brain is constantly running a prediction engine on sound. It's guessing what the next note, the next resonance, the next chord will feel like, and then comparing that to what actually comes out of the guitar. When the sound lands exactly where we expect, there's a calm, yes sort of satisfaction. When it bends your expectations in a slightly good way, you've got a little burst of surprise in the brain's reward system, especially in the nucleus accumbens, which helps turn prediction and surprise into pleasure. Now that nucleus accumbens structure, it doesn't work alone. It takes the ventral tegmental area, the VTA, to supply it with dopamine along the mesolimbic dopamine pathway. The same circuit that lights up for food you love or certain drugs. So when a guitar keeps giving you small, better than expected moments, a note that sustains longer than you thought, a chord that blooms in a way your ear wasn't ready for, that prediction engine, it sends this is good, pay attention signal down that pathway. Your brain can quietly start tagging this as a source of reliable, interesting reward. That's one reason a particular guitar can feel almost like a habit-forming substance. Your predictive system has learned, when I pick up this box with a neck stuck to it, the odds are that I'm going to get that mix of comfort and surprise that I'm looking for. And the more that happens, the more you're willing to push the bounds of what you play on it, chasing that feeling into new ideas. It's a gift in the sense that it keeps opening new doors, and an affliction in the sense that you keep wanting one more hit of that sweet sound. So next time you're in a guitar shop, instead of only thinking, is this mahogany? Is it rosewood? What are the specs of this guitar? You can give your nervous system a few simple tests. First, a touch test. Play something really simple and just listen to your body. Does this guitar make my breath a little deeper? Forget the room for a second. Start hearing ideas that I didn't plan. That's the reward system saying there might be a gift here. Now secondly, a soft attack test. Like back way off on your right hand, if you're right-handed, and just barely touch the strings. Does the guitar still give you enough information back to keep you interested? If it does, that's a good sign that it'll support more tactile, afflicted hands, that side of your playing. Thirdly, how about a surprise test? So play something on the guitar you wouldn't usually play. I'm cheating because I wrote this on the guitar earlier. Now, does it provoke you into new areas, or do you sort of comfortably force yourself back to familiar patterns? Now, those reactions are your auditory, motor, and reward networks voting with their feet. They're telling you which guitars your dopamine system actually wants to come back to. Now, the specs of a guitar, they matter. The build quality of the guitar, it matters. But your brain's predictive engine is often the deciding factor in whether you actually write with a guitar or you're just going to end up admiring it from afar. The special ones feel like a gift because they keep paying out in ideas, and like a gentle obsession because you don't really want to stop. And if you want to hear how different that relationship can be, the next video is going to swing to the opposite end of the spectrum. We'll jump from this responsive McIlroy into this completely different McCollum Baritone. Longer scale length, a very different low end, and a whole new set of predictions your brain has to learn. For some players, this baritone voice becomes its own kind of obsession, its own kind of affliction. Once you hear what those lows do to your ideas, it's hard to go back. We'll see how that changes what comes out of my hands and how it might change what comes out of yours. If you're thinking about moving into baritone territory, that is. If this mix of fingerstyle, tone, and a bit of brain science is your thing, please hit subscribe so you don't miss that one. And in the meantime, I'd love to hear in the comments, was there a specific type of guitar that left your brain feeling like you couldn't put it down? What was it? What do you think it was that did that differently for you? Thanks for joining me. See you on the next one.